beetle crawls, its armor gleams, a butterfly floats chasing dreams, ants parade in lines so neat, little wings of wonder, oh they soar, guardians of blooms forevermore, flitting through the sunlight, brave and free, garden allies, heroes we can see.
Little Wings of Wonder 2, Garden Allies, Episode 1. Welcome to the world of garden wings. The magic, right outside your door. Brought to you by the 1940s romance murder mystery novel Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery, and by the Little Wings of Wonder book series. Step outside your back door on any warm morning and you're entering a world more bustling than the busiest city street. While you might notice the obvious players, the birds at your feeder, the squirrels racing up oak trees, maybe a butterfly dancing past your roses, there's an entire universe of tiny aviators working tirelessly just inches from your feet. These are the garden wings, the smallest members of nature's Air Force, and they're about to change everything you thought you knew about your outdoor space. Unlike the hummingbirds that might visit your garden with their ruby throats flashing in the sunlight, these little creatures don't announce their presence with dramatic aerial displays. Instead, they work quietly, methodically, and with a dedication that would put the most devoted gardener to shame. They're the native bees that somehow know exactly which flowers need pollinating, the lacewings that patrol your tomato plants for aphids, and the tiny wasps that search every leaf for garden pests while you're still inside, finishing your morning coffee. The beauty of discovering garden wings lies not just in their delicate forms or their essential work, but in the simple fact that they're already there, waiting for you to notice them. You don't need to travel to distant rainforests or exotic locations to witness nature's wonders. You don't need expensive equipment or years of training. You just need to slow down, look closely, and prepare to be amazed by the intricate world that exists in the space between your back steps and your garden gate. Why little wings matter so much? When most people think about helping their gardens thrive, they focus on the big picture. Soil amendments, watering schedules, fertilizer applications, and pest control strategies. But here's what experienced gardeners have learned through years of observation. Some of the most powerful garden allies come in packages so small, you might mistake them for flying specks of dust. Consider the humble native bee, barely larger than a pencil eraser, visiting flower after flower with single-minded determination. While she's collecting nectar and pollen to feed her young, she's simultaneously ensuring that your tomatoes will set fruit, your cucumber vines will produce abundantly, and your apple tree will reward you with a fall harvest. She's working for free, asking for nothing more than a few flowers and a safe place to raise her babies. No expensive pollination equipment required, no complicated schedules to maintain, just pure, efficient, natural partnership. Or take the delicate lacewing with wings so transparent they seem made of the finest glass. Her larvae might look like tiny alligators, but they're actually voracious predators that can consume hundreds of aphids, scale insects, and other garden pests in a single week. While you're inside planning your weekend garden chores, she's already solving pest problems you didn't even know you had. the magic of garden wings extends far beyond their immediate practical benefits. These creatures represent one of nature's most elegant solutions to the challenges every gardener faces. Instead of battling against natural systems, they show us how to work with them. Instead of relying solely on human intervention, they demonstrate the power of biological partnerships that have been refined over millions of years of evolution. The secret life of your garden. Your garden is already hosting an incredible array of winged residents, even if you've never noticed them. They're active at different times of day, prefer different weather conditions, and have developed specialized relationships with specific plants. Some are early risers, beginning their work before the sun fully clears the horizon. Others are active during the heat of midday when many larger animals seek shade. Still others emerge at dusk, beginning their shifts as the day creatures settle in for the night. The native mason bee, for instance, is one of spring's earliest risers. She emerges from her winter hiding spot when temperatures are still cool enough to make most gardeners reach for sweaters. While honeybees are still clustered in their hives waiting for warmer weather, mason bees are already visiting early blooming trees like serviceberry and redbud, pollinating the flowers that will become summer fruit. They're so efficient that just a few dozen mason bees can pollinate as many fruit trees as thousands of honeybees. Ground-nesting sweat bees, despite their unfortunately unappealing name, are among the most gentle and beneficial garden visitors. These small, often metallic-colored bees rarely sting and are incredibly effective pollinators of vegetables and flowers. They get their name from their habit of landing on sweaty skin to collect salt, but they're far more interested in your garden's blooms than in bothering you. Hoverflies, also called flower flies or syrphid flies, are among the most entertaining garden wing residents to observe. They hover like tiny helicopters over flowers, their wings beating so fast they create a barely audible hum. Many species are remarkable mimics, sporting yellow and black stripes that make them look like small bees or wasps. This protective coloration helps them avoid predators, but they're actually flies, not bees, and completely harmless to humans. Their larvae, however, are anything but harmless to garden pests, consuming aphids with remarkable efficiency. Setting up your observation station. The wonderful thing about watching garden wings is that you don't need elaborate equipment or perfect conditions. Unlike birding, which might require binoculars and field guides, or butterfly watching, which often means hiking to specific habitats, observing beneficial insects can happen right from your kitchen window or back porch. The key is knowing where to look and when to be patient. Start with a simple folding chair positioned near your garden's most active area. This might be next to your vegetable beds, near a cluster of flowering plants, or beside a water feature. The goal is to find a spot where you can sit comfortably for 10 or 15 minutes without disturbing the natural activity around you. Morning hours, particularly the first few hours after sunrise, tend to be the most active time for many beneficial insects. A small notebook or journal makes an excellent companion for your observation sessions. You don't need to be an artist or a scientist to record what you see. Simple sketches, basic descriptions, and notes about timing and weather conditions can help you begin to understand the patterns of activity in your garden. You might notice that certain tiny bees prefer specific flowers, or that predatory insects become more active on warm afternoons. A magnifying glass, nothing fancy, Just a simple hand lens available at any garden center can transform your observation experience. What looks like a generic small bee to the naked eye might reveal itself to be a stunning metallic green sweat bee or a fuzzy-bodied mason bee when viewed through a magnifying glass. The intricate patterns on hoverfly wings, the delicate structure of lacewing wings, and the amazing variety of shapes and sizes among beneficial insects become visible with just a little magnification. Consider keeping a simple calendar or chart to record your observations. Note when you first see certain species each season, which plants they seem to prefer, and what weather conditions bring out the most activity. Over time, you'll develop a sense of the seasonal rhythms of your garden's winged residents. You might discover that certain beneficial insects appear just before pest problems typically develop, or that specific plants consistently attract the most diverse array of helpful species. The art of slow discovery. In our fast-paced world, the practice of observing garden wings offers something increasingly rare, an invitation to slow down and pay attention to small details. Unlike the dramatic arrival of a hummingbird at a feeder or the obvious beauty of a large butterfly, beneficial insects reveal their secrets gradually, rewarding patience and careful observation. The first time you notice a tiny bee working methodically through the flowers on your basil plant, you might think it's just a generic bee. But if you watch for a few minutes, you might notice that she's collecting pollen in a specific way, packing it into specialized structures on her legs or abdomen. If you observe her over several days, you might notice that she returns to the same area repeatedly, suggesting she has a nest nearby. If you pay attention to timing, you might discover that she's most active during certain hours or weather conditions. This gradual revelation of detail and pattern is part of what makes garden wing observation so rewarding. Each session of watching reveals new layers of complexity and beauty. You might spend several mornings watching what you think are the same species of small bees, only to realize that you're actually observing 3 or 4 different species, each with slightly different behaviors, preferences, and timing. The practice of patient observation also develops a deeper connection to your garden's natural systems. Instead of seeing your outdoor space as a collection of plants that need maintenance, you begin to understand it as a complex ecosystem where every element, from the smallest ground-dwelling bee to the tallest flowering tree, plays an interconnected role. This shift in perspective often leads to different gardening choices, ones that support and enhance the natural partnerships already at work in your garden, building the foundation for wonder. As you begin to explore the world of garden wings, remember that you're not just learning about insects. You're discovering a new way of seeing and interacting with the natural world. Every small bee visiting your flowers, every predatory wasp patrolling your plants, every hoverfly suspended over your garden represents millions of years of evolutionary refinement. They're not just randomly flying around. They're following ancient patterns, responding to subtle environmental cues, and participating in ecological relationships that are both beautiful and essential. The knowledge you'll gain from observing and supporting these tiny creatures will make you a better gardener. But it will also make you a more informed steward of the environment. Understanding how beneficial insects work, what they need to thrive, and how to create conditions that support them is understanding how to work with nature rather than against it. It's learning to see your garden not as a human creation that needs constant intervention, but as a partnership between human intention and natural processes. As you move through the following chapters, you'll discover specific species and their remarkable abilities, learn practical techniques for attracting and supporting beneficial insects, and explore projects that can make your garden a haven for these tiny allies. But the foundation for all of this learning is the simple practice of stepping outside, sitting quietly, and opening your eyes to the incredible world of little wings that surrounds you. Your garden is waiting to reveal its secrets. The tiny aviators are already there, already working, already demonstrating the elegant solutions that nature has developed over countless generations. All you need to do is slow down enough to notice them and prepare to be amazed by the intricate, beautiful, and essential world of garden wings. If you liked what you heard today, consider purchasing other books by Bradley Barkhurst, including Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery. It's 1941 in the quaint village of Worthington, Ohio. Life is changing at the end of the Great Depression. Elizabeth Russo, 23, teaches elementary school but feels uncertain about her future. Her Sicilian immigrant father ran the Red and White, a popular village general store. 5 years prior, Elizabeth's high school sweetheart Samuel left the village abruptly, leaving her with unanswered questions. Now engaged to George, the Red and White's accountant, Elizabeth still can't forget Samuel. When her father tragically passes away and her mother goes to Cincinnati to help her ailing Aunt Gracie, Elizabeth is forced to be alone. Then one night, Elizabeth receives a phone call from her mother, asking her to come to Cincinnati to see her ailing aunt. Before leaving and without notice, Samuel, Elizabeth's high school sweetheart, unexpectedly shows up in the village. Upon Elizabeth's return from Cincinnati, she hears a scream and sees a figure fleeing. The village banker, Mr. Collins, is found murdered, with suspicion falling on a local hobo. Elizabeth and her quirky neighbor, Betty Wimsfeld, investigate the murder. As they uncover village secrets, Elizabeth struggles with her feelings for George and Samuel. Will Elizabeth solve the murder mystery? Will she choose her stable engagement or risk rekindling an old flame? Find out in Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery. Available through major book retailers and underlyinglove.com. Stay tuned for the next episode of Little Winged, Wonders 2, Garden Allies, the Tiny Heroes in Your Backyard. Episode 2, The Pollinator Parade.